I'm Chad.Taylor, psychotherapist, author of It's You, Oh Fuck It's Me. No tips, no fixing, just real conversations. So today I've got Toni here, and I suppose the way I open up is, who the fuck are you, Toni? Tell us a bit about yourself.
It is the best podcast question I've ever been asked. I have to say, I'm already loving this interview. Who the fuck am I? Okay, so my name is Toni Will. I am, if you can't tell by my accent, depending on who's listening to this, I am from Michigan, Kalamazoo, Michigan, in the United States, born and raised here, 47 years young. I'm a mom. I have three young adult children. I love cats and dogs, and I also work in professional hockey. I'm the general manager of a men's professional hockey team here in Michigan for the last 11 years. I'm one of the handful of women in the world that do that job in men's pro hockey, so it's pretty cool. And then I also have my own coaching business. I've been sober for 5.5 years, and I help other individuals reduce or remove substances from their life. And I help them professionally as well. And I'm going to be an author come August officially, and I have a podcast. And as you can tell, Chad, I like to keep busy.
Definitely sounds that way. And I'll definitely be getting all those details off you to put at the end of the show notes because we need people like you in the world, right? We need people like us in the world who are pretty driven to put this into the world and keeping busy. And the goal for a lot of us is to help others.
Absolutely. And that is what drives me. My work, whether it's in professional sports, helping lift women up, is to help them, and people who are looking to live substance free. I'm looking to help them because I understand the power of being different based on what I do for a living and how I choose to live my life.
Yeah, and not that we're going to go too much into this, but do you find much of the overlap there? Do you find like a lot of the men, that elite sport athletes and stuff, need this sort of coach? Like, because from what I see, the higher we go in any field, whether it's podcasting or work or, most cults, unfortunately, start out with really good, amazing, aware people from the stuff that I've researched. I think we need people in the world that can almost be there for these high elite athletes or high achievers when they get to a point where they are the best in their field. And it's like, who do you go to when you're at the top?
Exactly. Yeah, I find that the more high pressure, whether they're an athlete or someone working in the business world or a creative person, in terms of maybe they're an artist or an author, podcaster, because that's all creative and creating content, the more success breeds more pressure. And then people are looking to release that pressure. And I'm going to use air quotes in fun ways. And the reality is, by choosing to live alcohol free or sober, whatever language someone wants to use, in my position, which is considered the top of the organization. And by the way, our head coach is sober as well, which is very interesting. And we got sober around the same time, but never talked about it. But it was really cool. It really does role model that even in high pressure situations, there's better ways to cope. And substances is not the way. And so we're role modeling the behavior and help where we can. And most of my clients, though, tend to be high functioning men and women in the professional world.
That's exciting. So just before we move on, did you want to just give us, where can people find you? What's the title of your book? And obviously I'll link this at the end, but just to hear it from you as well.
Yeah, so everything I just mentioned is at toniwill.com, and that's TONIWILL.com. My book, my podcast, I did a TEDx talk. It's all this stuff is on there. My conference that's coming up next month in March in Kalamazoo, Michigan. My book, Rebellious Success, pre-sale starts on March 13th, and then it will be published. You can get the copy starting August 11th. So that is all at toniwill.com.
That's exciting. Can't wait to read it.
I'm excited. Yeah, it's been a couple, as you know, as an author, it takes a couple years to birth a book. So I'm ready to put it out in the world.
If I'm being 100% transparent, I think the book was in me for a long time, and it was less than 4 weeks from start to finish from me starting to write that to hitting the box of, publishing it. So it was,
Good for
sometimes
you.
that's the addict in me, right? Alcoholism and drug addiction and being an addict gets a bad rap, but there's a fine line between obsession, addiction, and passion, I would say.
I totally agree, because when we're all into something, we're all in and there's no stopping us. But when we want to stop, We can, because it's the other side of that coin. We have it in us because we're so driven to figure it out.
Yeah, we've all got our own ways of doing that. So,
Mhm.
going to go straight into something I do that the last guest leaves something for the next guest. In the last session, I had Claire. Claire's a psychotherapist. I studied with Claire. She really helped me through uni. I didn't even know how to structure an essay. I had no idea that I had an introduction or a conclusion, or she really took me under her wing and helped me. And she's the same age as us as well. I've noticed that we're all the same age here, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And what Claire left was the question I have: what do you blame your partner for? But secretly, it suits you.
What do I blame? I know this is such a good question. I was like, Jesus. And by the way, it ties back to your book too about relationships, running through relationships, because my husband, I've been married 5.5 years, and this is my third marriage. And I often say third time is a charm, but what do I blame him for? But it suits me. I will say I have this tendency. He talks about how I have a chip on my shoulder. It's like this thing where I'm defensive, and I operate off what I call fuck you fuel. And I write about it in my book. And it's this black sheep. I'm always the black sheep victim shit that comes out. And I've got this chip on my shoulder, and I got to prove everyone wrong and all this crap. And he'll be like, oh, there it is. And I try to repackage it as fuck you fuel. Like I use it as motivation to move forward. And I'm still working through that, but it does fit me. So he'll often say to me, Toni, that's on you. And he's not wrong. So it may annoy me, but he's right.
Yeah, and are there times when you don't catch it? I know for me, there
Oh,
definitely is.
oh yeah. And my awareness through this journey of giving up substances has heightened tremendously over 5.5 years. But there are definitely times I don't catch it. And that's why having a therapist or a coach or a partner in your life who's not afraid to point these things out is super helpful. And I'm working on receiving that feedback and not being defensive. And I think that will be forever work for me.
I think it is forever work. A client asked me the other day, because I'm pretty open in being in the client's chair, because that's why I studied psychotherapy instead of psychology, because here in Australia, you can do a psychology degree and have never done an hour of therapy yourself. So you've never actually sat
Hmm.
where the client is. And all of a sudden, after 6 years, here you are, almost unconsciously, subconsciously trying to heal yourself through others, right? Because that's a part of this work. Like we and Claire spoke about this in the last podcast. Unconsciously, we come into this work to heal ourselves a lot of the time. And I'm a big proponent on, they asked me, when do you think you'll stop going to therapy? And my
Hmm.
answer to that was, when I could have a camera put on me 24/7, 365 days a year, and not one part of that I wouldn't want the world to see. And I don't mean the picking my nose or straining when I'm on the toilet or those sorts of things. They're embarrassing, but it's more the time when I'm in a shit mood and I cut someone off in traffic. Or sometimes, as we know, being a parent, you said you've got 3 kids, I've got two. I might not be as available to my daughter as I should be, right?
Hmm.
It's that's what I've tried to write in the book. But there's actually this insight. We use insight in therapy speak as protection for ourselves.
Exactly. And what's what drew me to coaching and starting my own business was, I mean, it was an insurance policy. Because if I'm helping others reduce alcohol in their lives or quit, then I figure if I'm helping them, they're just as much helping me. And I didn't want to go back out because I had before, and I wanted to do it differently. And so part of that was to ensure that Toni Party Time was really, that's what my friends would call me. She was put back on the shelf, and I don't regret a minute of it. And I think if I didn't start my business and help other people and have so many success stories come from it, because I get it, man. As I read I'm putting myself through the ringer. And so I get that shame and that desire to want to change and not know how. So as a coach, I totally get it, but it's helped me change by stepping into that role and creating that space for others just to feel not judged and help keep me Toni sober time instead of Toni party time.
Yeah, and it's amazing to hear that, because that is the basis of anything. The best way to learn something or the best way to develop something is to teach it.
Exactly.
You know? And as long as, do you find ever where you can hide behind that insight, like where the identity of being sober can protect you? I know these are big questions, but the identity of sober can protect you from things, as in,
Yeah, it definitely can. I haven't been asked that question before, but it's from someone who gets it, right? And that's why most people would never think to ask that. Yeah, it does, especially in the sports world, because it doesn't matter where you live in this world. Sports is an alcohol saturated culture. Whether you're attending a sporting event or you work in the front office, it's everywhere. And so I chose when I got sober to live it out loud this time. I did AA about a decade ago, and my personality is not one of, and I can never say the word, being anonymous. And so I decided to live out loud and quit out loud. And so, in a sense, I was hiding, in a way, I was using it as armor. So I didn't go back to that version of me. And by talking about it proudly and trying to shrink the shame, because I felt a lot of shame. So it was almost like a fake it till you make it. And I kind of stood behind that and used it as a source of armor, if you will. And now I'm just flat out fucking proud of it. So
which
it
you should
doesn't
be.
feel, yeah, it doesn't feel so much as armor. I just have to watch myself that I don't get self-righteous.
It's easy to do, right? Like, I know for me, the longer I seem to stay clean and sober and away from drugs and alcohol, I've really got to check myself more and more. So, well, we sort of leave this as a pretty short podcast, as you know. Was there anything else from the book that landed, or something that cognitively, but you don't really live it in your life? It's almost like we're doing mini little therapy sessions without the actual other people in it in here. And that's what I wanted to show people in this podcast, that it's not that scary to rip a bit of that egocentricity off you, or to rip a bit of that mask off you. There's a feeling of, if you look at scientifically, it gives us a bit of dopamine when we do this. So it's actually beneficial, but the black wolf in us will fucking fight to the death, right? So back to the
Yes.
question before the rant. What's something from the book that landed, and it's that you know it cognitively, but you don't really live it enough in your daily life?
I'll tell you what landed with me the most in the book was we're talking about addiction, but what we really, addiction is we're looking for, and you wrote it, so, but it's about the relief. And I found that to be so powerful because then I stopped and think about where else am I finding relief? Because and I'm still processing it. It's like the relief. I'm searching for the relief. And my mom died last year from Alzheimer's, and never once did I think alcohol was going to solve any of that. I mean, why would I numb it out? But I was finding relief in other ways. I just didn't use that language. And so whether it's eating Cool Ranch Doritos and Skittles, because those are my but that releases dopamine for me.
Mm.
So I would say that part stuck out the most and is something I'm still working on. And I'll ask myself questions, if I'm shopping, what is buying this? What are you making whatever you're buying mean? If I'm eating something that I normally am like, why are you fucking eating this, Toni? What am I making it mean? So that's what I keep asking myself. But now I can frame it as, what are you trying to relieve?
Yeah.
What are you trying to escape? So that part really stuck out to me.
What are you trying to escape, and probably how does it make us feel more connected inside? Whether it's I don't know about in America, but in Australia, it's almost a fucking hobby. Shopping's almost a hobby where people will, on a Sunday, they'll, purposely go to the mall with not really needing anything to fucking buy, and walk around and fucking spend, sorry for all the language, people, but it really amazes me that it's become a hobby, right? Shopping has become a hobby. Let's walk around and try on things and look at things that may give us some sort of salvation, when we could be going for a bushwalk, or we could be actually doing something more productive. And this could sound like a judgment, but I think the sooner we can wake up and start to really see that we're probably here to grow and evolve, not to do the things we're doing, right?
Exactly. That growth mindset. I have a lot of gratitude for the curiosity that I've always had. So it's a gift.
It is, right? So we're at the end. I know it's short and sweet. So one sentence, one question, statement, no teaching, just something to leave the next guest?
I would love for the next guest to talk about what they've changed their mind about lately.
Oh, I love that. Okay. What have you changed your mind about lately? Love it. Thanks, Toni.
Yeah, my pleasure. Congratulations on your book and all your accomplishments. And it's such an honor to be on your podcast.
Thank you. That's where we'll leave it.